All right, we're back live here on Sirius XM Faction Talk. Eddie Trunk, Trunk Nation, Monday through Friday, talking rock with you, 3 to 5 Eastern, noon to 2 Pacific. And I was just talking to Kenny during the commercial break because as the Hagar team rolls in here, we'll hopefully pick off each member of the band at some point, whether it's this week or when I come back on the back end. I'm not sure, but we'll see. But we start with my buddy for many years, drummer extraordinaire, the great Kenny Aronoff is in the house. Good to see you, brother.
You too, man. Great. Just got in last night.
Last time I saw you, you and I were having drinks in the lobby in the hotel in Japan, in Tokyo.
Sake in Japan. Nothing like it.
You're sitting in that lobby.
Sake and sushi.
Yeah. Well, I don't do sushi, but I remember we had a drink in the lobby.
What'd you eat that night? Then we went to that sushi place.
When we did the band dinner?
Yeah.
I ordered anything that wasn't fish.
What was not fish on there?
Their stuff came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know. There's a couple other people. Sammy doesn't eat fish either. Like he did it at the end of the last night. Remember, he ordered that whole big smorgasbord of sushi in the catering after the last show. But I think he doesn't eat it before or something.
They have beef.
Yeah, I think he didn't eat it before. I don't know. I think he didn't. There was something weird with Sammy. Didn't want to eat it until the last day or something. I don't know if he was worried about getting sick or his voice. I don't know. I remember there was some story there because I didn't think he ate it. And then the last night in Tokyo, remember they had that huge table backstage with all the sushi, and then he went crazy that night.
It might be, some people have allergies to fish and stuff, and so maybe it affects his vocal cords.
That's what I'm thinking.
I would never have guessed because why didn't he take us out to a steak place? But in Japan, sushi makes sense.
Yeah. There was that. That was a fun night, though.
That was good. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it's good.
And anyway, so before we talk to Kenny, because of course Kenny is here along with Satch and Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar because they are doing the residency, which is starting here on Wednesday. So we're going to get into all that and the song and all that here in a second. But since you're here, I was just about to give my AC/DC report because they played Saturday and I was here at the stadium to see them. And I was given the rundown as you walked in. So overall, my thoughts, I saw AC/DC 2 years ago at Power Trip. And if a stadium show is hard to take everything in, Power Trip was even harder. Because there was probably 100,000 people there. It was in the same site where you played this weekend, where Stagecoach was, in Indio, which I want to talk to you about because I'm curious how that went. But just in a nutshell, I was totally surprised at how great AC/DC were. And what I mean by that is the fact that, look, again, I'm honest to a fault sometimes. Brian Johnson is 77 years old. The guy, so is Sammy, by the way.
I know.
Which is another freak.
That's a freaky thing.
But Sammy's the freak of freaks. There's nobody likes what Sammy does. But Brian, when you consider what he has to sing, and that would be hard for a 25-year-old. That would be hard for a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
The man is 77 years old. And he is out there trying to sing this stuff that is recorded in such a high way, the way he does it. And he's working a football stadium length stage. Now, physically, he looks great. Like he looks great for his age. He looked great.
Wow.
Vocally, when they first came out, and look, the set list is the same every night, you guys. So it's the same set you've seen online. They're doing the same set every night. Vocally, the first 4 or 5 songs, I was like, wow, he sounds great. Did he run out of gas about halfway through a little bit vocally? Yeah, he did. He wasn't the same. Was he still better than most people 20 years younger? Absolutely. And you got to factor in all of it, like the age, the scope of what he's doing, Here's the other thing, and I'm not a musician, you are, of course, but I was told by more than one person, they don't tune down. They will not tune down, Kenny.
Original keys?
Original keys.
Wow.
So you've got a guy, 77, original keys, trying to sing Back in Black.
Wow.
And
that's deep.
It is way, way better than you could expect. Is it perfect? No. Should it be perfect? No. But it's 100% live. There's no bullshit. There's no tapes. And the guy is out there giving it his all. And are there some songs better than others? Yes. Is there some songs where he's really struggled? Yeah. I think the one he struggled the most on was actually You Shook Me All Night Long. Did people did the 80,000 people 80,000 people in the audience care? No.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to nitpick it, sure, there's going to be some people. I mean, more than one person said to me, "Oh, Brian struggled a few times." Yeah. Did anybody say it sucked? I want my money back? No, because it was real, it was authentic, and they were so happy to see and hear this guy and this band still doing it. So, to me, I got nothing but respect. I always say an artist should hang it up when they're either singing to a tape, damaging their legacy. They're up there. You're like, what are they still doing there? None of that was going on with AC/DC. Yeah. It wasn't like, and they've got an audience, probably the widest demographic you could imagine. Male, female, 15-year-olds, 80 years old, and everything in between. I've never seen anything like it. And if you're a young person, you're going to see AC/DC, you're not walking out. Like, if I had my son with me, who's 17, and I said, you should see this band, whatever, I wouldn't have walked out there and said, well, you should have seen them back in 82 when they were really good. They were still really damn good. Now, were they better in 82? Sure, they're 40 years younger. Yeah. Anyone would be.
Did you see him 40 years ago?
I saw him on For Those About to Rock the first time.
So you have a reference.
Of course. Yeah. So more than good, given all those factors, Angus is 70. And he's still doing all the Angus moves, bopping around. The show is over 2 hours long. A lot of headliners are doing 65 minutes these days. They're giving you 2 hours. And Angus was still great. Stevie was great. And you, I'm sure, know these guys.
Oh, yeah, I know them. Chris Chaney. And
Matt Logg.
Yeah, I know them both.
Crushed it.
Of course.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
Now, again, Kenny, you would speak to this way better than I as a drummer. Are you a big AC/DC fan?
Big time.
So everyone, Phil Rudd, what he did on that stuff is like, people tell you, in its simplicity, it's so difficult, right?
It's genius. Now, listen, I did what was that band from Switzerland that's basically AC/DC?
Airborne?
No, it's Crocus.
Crocus.
So I did a Crocus record, and they are...
You did?
Yeah.
Kenny's played, by the way, just so everybody knows, Kenny has played with everyone. You might know Mellencamp, you might know this. Right? You name the artist, Kenny is the king. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was talking to Sammy about Merle Haggard last night. I said, I played with Merle.
Did you play with Elvis too back in the day?
No, that's the only guy I didn't play with. So I did this Crocus record, and they were very specific about it. They wanted me to have a certain snare drum, certain cymbals. I was recording by myself. They were in Switzerland. So they were very specific that the Phil Rudd sound and a part of the Phil Rudd sound is how much he opens his hi-hats.
I heard that.
Yeah. And he does this thing. It's like a loud, soft to simplify what I'm saying. It's like tick, 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 tick. If it's not open enough, all you hear is tit, 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 tit. If you play too even, it sounds like tit, 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 tit. There's a swing factor in Phil's hi-hats that's magical that you can't define. It's not like a mathematical thing. It's a thing that you hear. So I literally would have, what was that DVD they put out? Something Jules. It was a live show of them. I literally had that live show on my laptop, and before I would record, and I had to start late, so they would be up in Switzerland to listen to the mix. I keep sending them tracks, and they say, yes, that's good. Yes, no, don't hit that cymbal crash. Oh, that fill, make it 2 beats shorter. I mean, they were so specific, yet the music's so simple. But they were totally aware and emulating AC/DC. Check this out. I gave them 8 recordings of my hi-hat at different open, tightness to open, and they picked number 5. I do 8 measures of each one. They go number 5. So what I did, I went, oh, they like number 5. So we played, my engineer would play that in a loop together. So I had to visually, I would start playing along, and then he'd stop me and say, that's it. Your foot is at the exact right place on the hi-hat. It's just open. I was trying to match what they liked that I had recorded, number 5. And then I visually glued my foot in that position.
Wow.
And played. I didn't realize when I would go to do fills around the drums, I tend to lean a little bit on my left foot, which means it would squish the hi-hats together. So I had to do this mental thing where put your foot in position and do not move it. Because after I do a fill, I go back to playing the hi-hats, and they were very specific about that. And
that's interesting because their singer, Mark Storacci, was always talked about as being a possible singer in AC/DC before Brian Johnson had the gig. That's a story forever because he has that kind of voice. But I didn't know that you did. But I was in a suite watching this AC/DC show, and there are other musicians there, and they were telling me, they're like, it is not easy to do what those two guys are doing with that rhythm section. And they said that guy, now I don't know Matt Logg at all, but people were saying he's like the perfect guy for that.
Oh, I got a great story.
And that he apparently is like a huge AC/DC Phil Rudd descendant, basically.
I got a great story.
I'm sure, have they ever kicked the tires with you, AC/DC? I could see you being the guy in that spot.
I got a story. I get a phone call from a very, very famous engineer last year. He says, hey, Kenny, man, and blah, blah, blah. I won't say who it is. And he says, hey, this band, very, very famous band, called me up once, recommendation of 5 drummers. I'm like, cool, who is it? Said, I can't tell you. Okay. And they said, when do they want me to audition? And they said, well, it's going to be in England, and it's for these 4 days. And if they like you, you have to stay another 2 days. I went, oh, I can do that. Meanwhile, I'm with Joe Satriani now. And I got a tour with him. And I got speaking, I do corporate speaking events. And you can't bail out of that. Those are booked and you sign contracts. So I said, and they said, okay, and if they like you, then they go back to the USA and they rehearse for 6 weeks, something like that. I said, I can do everything but 10 days. He says, okay, I'll let them know. He comes back and says, well, they're going to pass on you because you can't do those 10 days. I'm like, well, who is it, dude? Because I have to know because I need to know. I mean, if it's somebody, maybe who knows? Maybe I'll throw everything away for this.
Right.
He wouldn't tell me. And he says, but you trust me, you'll want to do it. I says, I'm thinking, and I'm doing all the math. Okay. I'm thinking anybody who's great, they would contact me directly. They wouldn't go through an engineer. They go, if it was you two, they'd say, call up Kenny. They find somebody who knows my number. And I know those guys anyway. They'd call me up directly, or if it was the Rolling Stones, they'd call. They wouldn't go through an engineer. So I thought, well, who would it be? I was trying to figure Oasis. I don't know. It was AC/DC. I had no idea. How would I know? Now,
how long ago was this?
It was last year, and Matt,
so it's for this gig.
For this gig, and Matt Logg was one of the drummers that auditioned, and so. I haven't told too many people that story, but I don't know, just don't have the opportunity. But anyway, that's I feel very honored that I was thrown into that list of 5 drummers. Do you know
who the other 3 were? Who they?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'd never heard of Matt, but I guess he's a big session
guy in L.A.
Yeah.
And you're right. He's a huge fan. I feel like I would have been great in that because I am such a fan of AC/DC and such a fan of Phil Rudd, and I get it. I get the genius of Phil Rudd. I would never nobody could ever sound like Phil Rudd, but I would give it my best, and I can feel and love what he does, and it starts from there.
Right.
The simplicity, the way it all works, the way your part works with the bass part, that works with the guitar part, that works with the other guitar, and works with the vocals. You can't mimic it. You either love it or you don't.
Right.
It's like it's method acting. You have to be so in it that you feel like you are Phil Rudd. And then you do your best to be Phil Rudd.
Yeah. No, this guy's doing a great job, and the band sounded amazing. The rhythm section was great. Chaney's great. Backing vocals were great. Everything. Chris Chaney and Stevie Young, and they stay in the back right by the drum riser.
Right.
And they just like back in the day, they'll walk up for the backing vocals, then they walk back, and the show is Angus and Brian. The show is Angus, Brian's out there, but Angus and Brian are out on the thrust the whole time. The rest of the guys are just doing their part in a supporting role, hanging back by the drums, and the band sounds so powerful. It was so loud.
Oh yeah, they're famous for being loud.
Yeah, but in a stadium, it's rare for a stadium to be that loud. And look, the last thing on this, and I can talk more about it throughout the week because I want to get to other stuff with Kenny. And I talk about this all the time. I mean, seeing a concert in a stadium, even a festival, it's just never going to be the ideal environment for sound, sightline, whatever. Even though I was in a great spot in this great suite halfway up on the side, it was great. Couldn't have had a better experience in and out and from where I was sitting. But so where I was sitting, they sounded amazing. It was the best sound, and everyone in the suite with me agreed. It was the best sound we've ever heard in that stadium, which is a relatively new stadium, and they're still trying to figure out sound dampening and all that. Everyone said it where I was. But I had friends, I had like tons of friends there, and I didn't see any of them because in a stadium show, everyone's in different places. It could take you half an hour to get to someone in a different part of the building. So I went in and out. I didn't see anyone. But I talked to friends afterwards that were there, and some of them said the same thing I said. Wow, the sound was amazing. And others like, sound was awful. That's going to be the case with any stadium level show because it's just too big. Like it depends where you're sitting, your location. It is, no matter how good the sound men are, no matter how much they try to fix the dampening of the sound bouncing around, bottom line is you might be in a zone that it sounds great and somebody else could be in a completely different area and it sounds like dog shit. It's just the downside of these enormous shows. Yeah. The business they're doing, I mean, this show was the first to sell out Saturday night in Vegas. People came from all over the world. I can't even comprehend the merch numbers. Yeah. There were lines for merch. Kenny, they sell these little horns.
Yeah, of course.
Flashing horns that, like on the cover Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
If there's 80,000 people in there, 78,000 people must have been wearing them. The whole place.
What a cool visual.
Yeah, but think about the money on that. I think they cost probably $1 to make. They're selling them for $25 a clip.
That's cheap. That's incredible.
The T-shirts, they couldn't, like, people buying them after the fact online, waiting in line. You know, it's just printing money. So where they're going from here, you know, we know they've got Europe. You know, Cosmo was here the other day telling us some stuff, that they're LD. Whether this continues or not past this year, we really don't know.
I don't know. Doing a U.S. tour right now?
Yeah, but they're only doing like 8-10 shows. Right. It's stadiums, and they're missing major markets. Like they didn't do New York. They're not doing San Francisco.
Did they do that last year?
No, they haven't toured. They haven't toured in any real way in like a long time. Like,
yeah, but I thought they toured last year for like a month.
No, not in America. Oh, okay. No. They played one show 2 years ago where you were last night or Saturday at India at this festival called Power Trip. I was at that. So anyway, you know, again, see them if you can. Who knows if they ever do it again? Who knows what's left? I can't imagine Brian Johnson doing this much longer. And I'm not saying that because he was that bad. I'm just saying you got to live in the real world. It is remarkable what he's doing at the level he's doing it even now at his age. And there are people out there 20, 25 years younger mailing it in, folks. And this guy is not doing that. So I got nothing but respect.